Hopefully make some nice progress today. We're back into familiar frame animating, adding movement control, hopefully even collision detection. We'll have a look with the new tile map, of course, or the new scrolling routine, I should say. Hope everyone's had a good day, weekend, whatever's been of it. As you might have noticed, I was doing some gaming streams, so my window might be a bit buggered. Yes, it is. Fix that though. Alright, let's try this out. It's not quite perfect like that, actually. Too many to click. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so you might notice I've messed around with my microphone settings yet again. I think there'll be a lot more interference and noise now, but it should be much clearer with my voice. I've also got the new GPU, but my power supply is a modular. I don't have a cable, so yet another thing I've got to buy now. But that should come, middle of next week. Be gaming with NVIDIA power. So you'll have to forgive me about the noise of the mic if it's bad. I've got a gate stopping the interference. Hopefully it'll work. If not, I'll have to tweak it again when I... So let's just have a look and remind ourselves what it looked like. Oh, I've got an error. I think I've accidentally mistyped. It's in levels, line 81. Yeah. It's probably typing. Didn't realise I was in this window or something. Okay, so we've got no collision detection. The player can only move, only the camera's moving, nothing else. Player is in a fixed screen space position. So a lot of work to do. I also, it seems that it's not finding the end of the level correctly either. Now, just rolling through and wrapping round. But it's a good start. So we can make it look a bit nicer. We can animate the player. I believe I will have to do some artwork here now because the sprites are just slightly the wrong size in the width. I need to pad them out. So we'll do that now. Just enough to get the walking animation. Whoa. Yo, Vulcan, thank you very much for the subscription, my man. That's really, really good of you. Keeps me going, man. Thank you ever so much. Second month. That's fantastic, man. Soon flies by, doesn't it? Soon flies by. Hello, my man. Let's get the walk animation in there. Doesn't really matter what GIMP does with the colours, particularly, because we're going to get Emooks tool going. Bring that up now. Emook. Oh yeah, ZX Next Utils. There we go. Okay, so I want to save this. I want to pad this out. Oh, the height's only 28 as well, so that's actually wrong. What I want to do is 32 width and 32 height, but do I want to center the height? It might look good if he lifts off the ground a little as he walks. So I'm going to try it. I've just realised I've got two copies of these sprites and I'm doing it on the wrong one. Oh, that looks correct. Maybe it was the right one. Got a request for a next game. Princess Bride. Let's have a look at that. Sounds like it might be a not safe for work game. Oh right, it's a movie. I thought I'd heard of it, but 1987 movie. Why not? Do you know what? There was an idea yesterday chucked in the mix for a game. I don't know the Princess Bride, no. That's funny that. I was only 5 when it came out, but maybe I watched it back when I was a youngster, but I've completely forgotten it if I did. It's the sort of one, it's got a really high rating, look, but I would just bypass it. I'd look at one screenshot of that and be like, no, that's not really my scene. I'll check it out. I do love finding movies that I like that I absolutely hate the screenshot and cover art of, because it makes me think of all the other ones I might have missed out on. I can't think of a good example right now, but there have been some over the years. Because I can get snobby with photos, with DVD covers alone. Just the covers can put me off. I bet you will. I bet you will. I'll check it out. I don't get a lot of time. Like I do watch some TV after I do the stream, but I tend to only watch it with one eye on it, and I watch something I've already seen normally. So it seems that's already the right size. So let's close that down. Do these two while we're here. Oh, and then the last one. Maybe everyone else is out, has got drunk. Strictly Come Fucking Dancing. Is Robbie Savage on that? Because I listen to the radio while I'm working, and I just got the feeling he said he was on it, but I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. Robbie Savage. I've already done number 2. This is number 1. They're just arbitrary numbers. We might need to change the order. Okie dokie, there's number one. What did I call him? Oh, Spike a lot, wasn't it? Ah, of course. Spike a lot. That's just so. It's exported like that, but that's 4 segments of the same sprite. So really, that should be called Spike a lot. Let's say Spike a lot A. Right, so the number will always be 1 to 4. And then A, B, C, D is the actual frames. Spike a lot, yeah. So this guy is just Spike a lot B, basically. Because like I said, it's arbitrary, the order right now. I don't know exactly what order I want to show these frames in to make him walk. But we can sort that out later. The only confusing thing so far is A is actually labelled as 2 when you go into here. That's the only annoying thing. And this is B, and then this will be C and D. It actually should be A, B, C, D, I think. Let's change this to, let's change B to C. Shocker spectrum screen order is odd. What are you talking about? The 48, the original spectrum, yeah? It's bloody weird, isn't it? I figured out eventually why they did it that way. I'd hate to try and explain it, but I'll give it a go if you want. But it's something to do with being able to increment the high byte only, and then you're moving down exactly one line. Right, so I've done. Oh, that's meant to be C as well. So we've got A and C. Let's do B. A, B. Why is there 7 this time? Okay, do it again. Oh. Yeah, I definitely. The guy that explained it to me said it's because you can literally just get the high bite. If you want to move down the line, you don't even have to worry about the little bite. And there was some other reason about it as well. I don't know, it made sense at the time. Okay, so we've got 3 of them out of the 4. The last one. Excellent. Right, so let's do ourselves a favour and rename these. So that's C. That's A. B. And that's D. And then let's even create another folder. Put it like player walk. There we go. So we can look at this little as a reference now. Probably would make sense, you're right. Yeah. But I guess the people that designed the computer thought how easy it would be to not worry about that. You know, it's so simple to them to be able to just manipulate it, you know, and turn it around. The only way I got around that was when I wrote that double buffer in routine, and it completely like abstracted that away. Do you know what I mean? I never ever had to think about that again after that. All right, let's go back into the other window there. What book's that then? It's nice when you get them when you don't understand a thing, and then you just eventually understand it though. That book Emook showed on the picture looked good. I like the language that was used to describe it. Brain says bride. Yo, Specky. That's cool to know you can scroll through all the messages. What's this link? Oh, decent book. Isn't it amazing to think that even in this day and age, people still write books about the spectrum? Just read that about Discord. Well done, man. Hello, Eastlink. Good to see you, mate. We're using Z80 assembly language without any engine. We're just using raw code and compiling using SJASM. My name is Diego Montoya. Right, so what we want to do, we've got our sprite getting drawn, but when we hold right, we want him to, we're not worrying about collision right now. We just want to hold right and have him step through the animations. Oops. So let's see how we can do that. I mean, it's nothing we haven't done before, but every single time it's still you know, we still run into problems, no doubt. But long story short, we want to change this one value here. Oh, in sprites, I've just added a load and I forgot to change the constant. So how many have we got? 4, 8. It's 12, isn't it? Anybody want a peanut? So we've got 12 sprites now. And what we also want is another constant. It could just be called sprite size. It's just a convenient way of doing 16 times 16, which is the size of the sprite. Because I'm thick, I'm going to have to use the calculator. I can't actually work out 16 times 16 off the top of my head. Oh, it's exactly 256. Interesting. Inconceivable. I think I have an idea of what that means. I hope I do anyway. Right, anyway, so we've got the amount of sprites, the number of sprites, and then the size of a sprite is 256. That's in bytes. If we want to, we also want to know how many frames there are per not how many frames, how many tiles, for want of a better word, does one sprite consist of? So we've got 4 per sprite. Sprite. Maybe we could just do 256 times 4 there. So basically what that's saying is sprite size is actually 4 of these buggers. That's one sprite. And now when we're in here, we simply want to add. Of course, I've messed up there. Forget the 256, it's just 4. Because it's 1 times 4. Because the way the sprite hardware handles it, a pattern is one whole sprite. So this is the pattern identifier here. So if I put it to 4, well, you can't do that because that's binary. Let's look up the binary for that. Princess Bride game, I'm very down for that. Oh, what about the Faster Than Light game? That's the one I was thinking about today. Faster Than Light, but with a red dwarf skin. But yeah, Princess Bride, I will check it out. I don't even know anything about the film, so you know, it could be the worst or it could be the best. I wouldn't know. So that's a 4 in binary, and of course these bits do something else. So let's have a look at him. That's his second phrase, second animation framework. So as you can see, what we really want to do is add 4 to this number, and then add these back on. And all the child sprites follow relatively to that. So how's the best way of doing that though? Nothing happens till I watch Princess Bride. Do you know what? I'll get it tonight, mate. I promise, without fail. Because I cannot believe this will hit my radar and be, I don't think I'll be saluting it because it just looks so bad to me, and the title sounds like something I'm really not going to enjoy. But we'll try it. Zoom in a bit. Of course I can, mate. I forgot about that. Sorry. Is that okay? I'll wait until you say, because I could go one bit larger, but then that's starting to get a little bit inconvenient. Perfect, yeah. If it gets small again, let me know, because I don't mind zooming in. I forget sometimes that it's not so easy to see on a stream. Right, so we want to change this attribute free. Now, the only annoying thing about this is we want to also leave these unchanged. And we want to use a decimal value, not binary, to just add 4 each time. Dump the chat. Dump the chat column. Okay. You know, I leave it there specifically for people on YouTube watching. On the right. Dump the column. Oh, move it to the right, do you mean? I see what you mean. Yeah, because it's definitely not the width I'm bothered about, but if I make it bigger like that, it does get a little bit restrictive. It's okay. I could learn to live with this, you know. Because really, the code window could be like this wide. It wouldn't really make any difference. And I could have another chat window on the right. Yeah, but it's a jog. It's a, what's the word? Sort of, it's a discovery thing. I'm trying to work out what's best. But I do realize, like when I upload to YouTube, when I've been gaming, it doesn't have the doesn't have the chat box. And then if I sometimes watch it back, you learn to live with ginger hair. Fair play, Becky. People love that nowadays, don't they? It's like, and you know, the more different you are, the better nowadays. But in the past, it wasn't that way, was it? When I was in school, it's probably still the same. Actually, in school, it's probably still the same. You don't want to be at all different to anyone else. You want to be exactly the same as everybody else. I live in Scotland. I'm a god. I just think it stops people thinking I'm talking to myself, or you know, they wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about sometimes. let's say for a minute that I had this full width. You wouldn't really be able to see anything more. I'd have to. Do you see what I mean? That's all I'm thinking. Yeah, so I have had a thought about it internally, and that was the decision I came to. But I'm not stuck on that forever, you know. That'll do. Not quite perfect, but I understand. I mean, that's huge. That's huge text now. Yeah, I do understand though where you're coming from there. Let's try and live with it really big like this, and then I can always zoom out, can't I, if I need to. All we're trying to do is think of a way to increment these bytes. I think it's actually that. Let's confirm. Oh no, it's all 6. But we don't want to increment them by 1. We want to increase them by this value to move on a frame. It's okay. I'm happy. I've already adapted to this. Sometimes there's a time when I need to zoom right out, like if I was going to start messing around with the level map, you know, and if I was going to go into this and start editing it, I would definitely zoom out. Get your OBS FU. True, true. I mean, it pretty much does, because I click it now. Like for example, I click fit to screen, and it does that. Why have I got that black bit at the top? Oh, fu. Okay, I am with you. Like kung fu. It could be to do with the scaling that's making it hard to read. Right, let's give this a try then. So for now, we'll just do next frame, next animation frame. It'd be lovely to write one same with this drawing that's generic, but right now this is just for the player. So I'm going to put player. So attribute 3 is the one we're worried about. To be quite honest, this will never change, this byte here, this bit, because that's what that's saying is that we are using the 4th attribute. This one is how to make it invisible, but if it's invisible we don't want to animate it, so we could just check that that bit is set, and if it's not, just return, and therefore we never need to, we know that they're always 1 1 there, and that equals 128 plus 64, isn't it? Whatever that equals. 192. So if we just add 192, then we've got them 2 bits set. VS Code setup guide. I've got for next. Do you mean? Okay. That's for 48K game coding, yeah? Because you don't need that for next. Oh right, yeah. You've got to do what you said. You can delete them list files because it should be able to generate them. Um, Give me 2 seconds. Because my video probably will help you if you actually do sit and go through it a couple of times. I was going to say most of them videos are out of date and you're probably better off asking me now, but that is actually one that I think the video was quite good on. If you have time. Because I think I actually did splice it out as well, so it's only like 20 minutes long. Yeah, no worries. I'll find it now though. Oh, there's a 2 minute long video, but that's only about fixing one specific problem. So you'll need to look through this 2 hour video. I'm afraid I don't remember what sort of time. Skim through it and you'll. It is to do with the two files you mentioned, launch and tasks.json, and then the GitHub. I'll give you a link to that as well. Ooh, I might not actually be able to because I haven't logged into that since I've got my new computer. Definitely here though. In fact, the space taxi one is probably the best one to look at because that's got the .vs code folder, and that's what you basically need. Yeah, no worries, no worries, man. I must admit, I forgot. I wouldn't like to do that myself without watching the video back myself, you know. Anyway, next frame. So we want to find out what frame it is. So what I've done there is I've took attribute 3 and I've just made sure them 2 bits at the top are zeros. So now we're only dealing with the frame number. I I don't look at Discord that much, Vulcan. I'm not judging. I when you said Princess Bride, I immediately thought I immediately thought of that kind of content anyway, to be honest. I don't know why. I just can't type nowadays. Um, I haven't even opened Discord. I've got to be honest. Discord can be bad for the brain. Like with you guys, it's always fine. But some other people, they're relentless sometimes. You know, they get into your brain. Yeah, I mean, I know how to use Discord, but I don't know all the intricate bits of it about setting up bots and all that sort of stuff. But I've basically muted every server now. Well, I say basically, I mean I have. I've got your Discord there now, but I haven't read it. I tried it, mate. Vulcan. I tried so many settings and I just couldn't get rid of the beeps. Yeah. I think it might have been the Spec Next Discord that was doing it to me. But there is a way of muting each one, but I don't know. This is the bit where I let myself down. I can. This is what. Do you see how I'm doing it? Like I've got 4 different modes to be in. I just want to add 4 to it. Yeah, in fact, that's the way to do it. And it's not 4. It's well, it is 4, but I mean it's sprite size. I don't like that name, sprite size, now though. Sprite segments. The reason we're adding that is to move through past all them segments onto the next one that is the top left of the sprite. After we've added it, we want to check, is it more than that? It actually has to be that take away 4. What I mean by that is if it's any more than 9, then we know we've gone too far. But it's going up in increments of 4, so it's going to go 0, 4, 8, 0, 4, 8. Oh, so it's actually 16. And 12 is the last one. So that's doing what I just described. It's checking, are we on the last one? It might have been better to do that before we add. So if it's already that, we don't want to add. We want to just set it back to 0. Let's deal with that in a minute. So because I jump and then return, none of this will happen on that occasion. Before we return, we can just set this to 192 because we know that zeros with 2 1s there and there is where we originally I mean, we could almost have a constant for that. That is 192. Let's put the constants at the top just in case. I think that might matter. If I try and use it here. We can just load attribute 3 with that default one we just created. Okay, so now we know that it was not that high. So we add the segment value in. Pretty sure we can just add that. Right. Yeah, oh, it's bloody good, Discord. I used to have some great communities, but unfortunately they get infiltrated by flipping idiots half the time, eventually. You know, I say they're idiots, but the other people there liked them, you know. So in the end it just becomes like a bloody... Well, it's like anything in life, really. Can't have everything your own way. But it can sometimes just become another bloody stress. But I was always voice chat on there, you know, gaming with other people. That's correct, Specky. That's what this is. Look, where I'm setting the 16. That's telling it the offset. Otherwise, it just, if you had 0, 0, it appeared directly on top of it. And of course, it stays that exact distance away from the anchor the whole time. Yeah. But all I'm doing here is changing the image pattern. I'm notching it up by 4. It's probably a really long-winded way of doing it. I was trying to think of a better way, but let's just not bother doing an anim timer a second. Let's use this and see if it works. So I should just need to be able to call that to change frame. And I'm just going to do the controls. For now. Because it's a test. That's the wrong one. In fact, I'm going to rename that. It's that convention I was talking about. If it's a... Then again, we might want to use that from outside the root, the file. We might want to set him back to default. Let's leave it. So where was I? Game. Yeah, I'm just gonna call player. We're gonna change the name of that. I really hate that name. It should just be like animate player or walk. Do walk animation. Something like that. So this is going to be really quick, isn't it? As we scroll right, it should also just keep changing the frame. But it's going to happen 60 times a second or something. Wait. It looks cool. It's like a cartoon. Let me at him. Let me at him. But as you can see, it works pretty cool. Of course, we could change it so that when you are not moving, it'll just go back to a default state or an idle state. I love that. Alright, so I guess the next logical thing to do would be to it did look pretty cool, didn't it? I mean, this is just temporary here. Scroll right. Because it's quite funny. I'm not used to this where we actually have no movement code for the player. Scroll right is all we're doing. Really, as far as I can tell, you should be able to move the player. So if you're holding right, it should let you, like, say, get to like pixel 60 and then start scrolling. And then if you're holding left, it should let you get to pixel like 160 or something, so that it moves you to the left side and then scrolls, if you understand what I mean. I think I'll stick with it though for now. I'm just going to stick with the way it's doing it. So in scroll right, which seems really odd because we got it in this level manager code. But what we want to do is increment the player's animation timer. Just wondering. Let's do it in the player. Um, oh, it's a weird one. I'm not quite sure where to put, how to approach this. Well, basically, we need an animation timer for him. Is that right, Specky? Can you go left? Because that's quite important to know, really. You can. So what happens when you go left is it of course will not scroll immediately. It moves immediately. Do you turn around? You just mirror your sprite. And it moves immediately. Wow, okay. What console are you playing it on? The MAME? Because I might get it on the screen and have a quick playthrough in a minute. Depending on what system it is. You are doing the arcade. In that case, I'm not going to do that because I've downloaded a MAME pack. And it's in a zip with lots of games. But I've still got like 20 gigs to download. So it won't unzip yet. See YouTube. Oh, well done. I missed that link. Oh. Get lost. What the hell? See that tile map thing at the start there? So it's right in the centre of the yeah, it lets you walk to the centre of the screen. Or the middle, I should say. Okay. Nice and straightforward. I wonder if they were thinking about me when they made that, because I love how simple that will be. I don't think they were thinking about me, but I do love it as well. That's a well cool game. I've never got past level 1. I used to play it on the Nintendo a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty terrible at it. Yeah, the enemies we'll be able to hopefully deal with, and it'll just be a case of knowing what the offset is on the level map and applying that to the enemies. Let me get myself sorted again. I've completely forgot what we're doing now. Yeah, so you will notice though when we looked at that, you can move the player. The scrolling just happens when your player reaches a certain point on the screen. So there's two independent things going on. Okay. Oh, we've got this raster line thing was waiting for 20 as well. That's very slow. Alright, so we have an animation timer. I think I need to do the movement code first though, before we worry about animating him. So I'll start him at like 50. And the screen player, well, no, it's not put player, let's put scroll. My vocabulary's gone downhill. I can't think of what word I want to use, but scroll marker. I'll put X there, it's not necessary because we're not scrolling on Y at the moment anyway. So that's halfway in the screen. Sounds good. I mean, we've got to deal with Y scrolling at some point if we wanted to make anything like this game. Even for level 1. Because it has the ladder, like you say. And then you go up and it scrolls, doesn't it? It's going to change this code a lot. I'm worried about it right now. With the way we're doing the scrolling. It's going to take a big... like a big change from what we're doing where we load a whole column in. at a time. So let's just move him without animating him a sec. I'm only going to do right at the moment. Try and keep it simple. Left will pretty much be a copy-paste job. I've got to look up them next specific opcodes or whatever they're called soon. There's been loads of times where I've been making mountains out of molehills, not realising you could do like add HLA and stuff like that. It's going to increment the X position, isn't it? That's going to be fine. Let's change the name of this. There we go. So again, I haven't bothered with the animation timer. I'm just going to call animate. Eventually we will deal with that timer. I actually want to not have this here now. I'll put that back to 20 just for now, so that we don't see any, you know, to keep it from, you know, if I wrote code and think it doesn't work just because I changed that. So when we, where is it? Oh god, over here. When we call move right and we move, we're animating the player no matter what. This ink, we really need to add a speed variable to that. Let's do that now. Let's try that. Might be able to do a constant there. I'm going to go on the assumption that you can, because the next is a clever little bugger. You wouldn't be able to do that on your 48K though, I don't think. You'd have to load DE with this. So we animate, we move, but we don't want to move if Wait. Let me make sure I don't make a mountain out of this one as well. Yeah, we're never going to need the high byte of X in this game. You can only walk to the center of the screen, can't you? The middle. So if it's more than that, we'll scroll right. And if it's less, we'll move right. So yeah, we actually don't need that return. Oops. Scroll right is obviously in another assembly file, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't matter. Let's try that. So we're going to start at 50x. When we reach 160x, it should start scrolling. It should almost also animate, but too fast. Ah, no movement whatsoever so far. And the reason is, we're not calling player update anywhere. It's got very poor collision detection. Yeah, I was going to say it's quite a common technique to shrink down the box, because there's nothing more annoying than having a collision that doesn't actually make a true collision pixel for pixel. And it used to, do you still remember? I remember being a very young guy, and like when like a bullet or whatever whizzed just through the top of your head, and you felt like you just dodged it. It used to feel pretty good. Like if it hits you every single time with true collision, it's a bit boring. It's nice to shrink it. See if he moves. Whee! There we go. Simples. It's just so easy with this next, isn't it? Yeah, that as well, Specky, of course, with the arcade games. Look at that though. Perfect. So we need to slow his interestingly, let's have a look with where is it? Let's have a look with putting this as 2. Is he even faster, the animation? Yeah. Too fast. But that's how fast we want the game to run, so we need to come up with a way. In fact, I want it at 1 really. Not sure if 1 does anything though. Not sure if that's any different from 2. It really has, Specky. It's like having a Nintendo NES sort of crossed with a Spectrum, you know. And then obviously with modern, like some of the modern approaches that they've probably learned over the years for making the sort of, I don't know what you call it, like the mechanisms for doing sprites. And it's cool. So let's get him working properly. Let's have a think about this, guys. Maybe you can help me here. I mean, I know exactly what I want to do, and I've got an idea of how to do it, but I want to tick this number up by 1 every frame. And when it hits this number, which of course I can change, it would it will change it will call this. So where do you reckon would be the best place to count? Because I guess right in here is the one. Well, no, it'll have to be at the update. CPTI. Okay. Compare to the number you want. What I'm really asking is where would be the best place to do the incrementation of the timer? I get you, mate. Don't worry. Till it meant, didn't it? CP till the number. We've done it a million times over this anyway. I'm probably being a bit stupid. I'm going to do it here for now. I think it's good practice not to write a routine for that. I would. The object orientated programmer inside me wants to make a routine for that, just to say increment timer, so I can just have my update loop nice and clean. But I'm starting to learn that I think it's better to chain it in there. It's way overrated, I agree, mate. I wasted many years because when I first learnt coding in a serious way, everyone was telling you you had to do object orientated, you know, everywhere was going on about it. So I spent a lot of my time, instead of making games and doing fun stuff, I was like abstracting functions and stuff and trying to learn how to encapsulate stuff so that it could be reused. And really, I don't find that's the best way to learn. That's more of a sort of pro strat after you've learned how to do it specifically. Could use a macro, maybe. That's a bloody good idea, actually. Thing is, this name here. Yeah, I mean, I got to a stage with C# where I was amazingly good at making it reusable, but it took a long time to get there. And I've also forgotten it and learnt like a lot of it was crap anyway, so I'd need to rewrite it all anyway, you know. Yeah, but even little things like follow target. If you want to give imagine you've got X and Y here, yeah. Or imagine if you also had a Z. or Z, I should say. That's like what you might call a vector free in Unity, or a transform position. And let's say you just wanted to create a routine that just followed any target. It's a similar thing what we're doing here. If I wanted to make a macro out of this, I'd have to come up with a way of not having player animation timer. I'd want to specify that first, so that I could reuse it for every character. Do they? It's slightly easier on to just for follow target. It's quite easy on this, because you can just, if your X is higher than theirs, you just increase the X, and the same for Y. But the hardest one I found was actually look at. Sorry, it wasn't the follow. It was like to rotate around an object and continually look at the object. It takes a bit of coding at the time. It took me quite a while. There's routines inside Unity that do it for you now. And they're good, there's no reason not to use them. They're super optimal most of the time. But sadly with Unity, you can't see the code very often. You can't just click it. Like with Unreal, if this was an Unreal function and you're in Unreal Engine, you can right click this, go to definition, and see the entire Unreal code, and just, it helps you in a lot of instances to see the best way of doing things, or a good way of doing things. I'm going to continue doing my specific approach. One day I'll get into more generic, but it's a long way away. I want to make a game before I even think about that, really. A full game, or at least, a nice chunk of a game. Anyway, the timer's gone up by 1 now, every single frame, no matter what. All we need to do is compare here, don't we? And I guess animate walk. See, this animation timer is only when he's walking. When he's jumping, the timer will be, have you landed? It won't be like a specific amount of time. You'll be in the jump animation until you land. So I can just do it in here. I can just reset it back to 0. Like right at the top here. Maybe they own the a lot of people, there are people in every town that own the arcades, or they know someone who does, so they're in there overnight and they play in all of them on free play. Well, that was in the back in the day. Especially in America, I think it was even a bigger scene over there than it is here, or was. I mean, I know now there's a lot of enthusiasts that own several arcade machines, but I'm talking about back when they were, the height of technology. Okay, so that's going to work for us. Let's see if it works. It's really simple if it does. I would love to do Outrun. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. Of course, you need to sync up the scroll speed with your animation speed to make it feel right. Original stand-up. Did it have a little wheel on it? I can't remember. I've got a big blur of Big blur of memories. I think by the time I was old enough to go to the arcades, Outrun had already been out a while. I don't know actually. I do remember Pit Stop being in the arcades. I can actually remember there was a game a bit like Spy Hunter, but it wasn't called Spy Hunter. It had a tiny wheel. It was a stand-up arcade machine, and it had oil slicks and all that. It was a lot like Spy Hunter, but more fun, I think. I can never remember it. The name of it. No, it was a top-down. It might have been something Sprint or Sprint something. But it was really good fun. It was like Spy Hunter, but way easier. You could play like for a good few minutes without crashing. Yeah, that's sad, isn't it, Vulcan? I hate this rubbish, to be honest. Super Sprint, it might have been that. It might have been. But like I say, my memories are a big jumble, unfortunately. I don't like our scroll speed. I think it's a bit too fast. Also, the animation was way too slow. Let's try 10. That's not bad. As you can see, it should decrement. But that's like quite more confusing code to do that. It's not so much jerky. What's happening is it's going up through the frames and then back to the first one. But it's probably meant to do, I mean, you could just add them in, the frames. It's going A, B, C, D, A. But what we really want is A, B, C, D, probably C, B, A. I'm not sure. I do quite like the animation as it is. I think it looks alright. But the movement speed. Yeah, it's got a D as well. I actually quite like the way he walks. Because if you look at his trailing leg, or not his trailing leg, his closest leg to the camera, it kind of looks alright. I think it's more the speed that's wrong. And his speed's 1. How annoying. I gave myself this problem last time, didn't I? What a pain. I wonder if it'd be worth doing the exact same thing as we did there. Hmm. Might work. Might work. Well, it will work, but whether it's a decent way of doing it or not. I'm trying to think what to name it. Okay, Specky, we might do that later. I can already think of 2 ways to approach that. One would be to actually just copy the sprites in again and waste a frame or all them extra frames. Or a better way would of course be to have us like a state to say whether we're going up or down in the animation. And then instead of calling set to default, we'd have a, one to go up and one to go down. So this one's the up one. And we'd just have a reverse of that, basically, with a decrementer instead of adding, subtracting. So we will do it later, but right now it's okay. What's more of a problem is the speed. Like, that was the slowest possible speed we could let the player walk. I mean, before I change anything, let's have one more look at it as it was. It looks a bit fast to me. But the way this game's coded, I believe that they might have done the same thing. Maybe that is just the right speed. It's a bit fast, you reckon, yeah? Alright, I'll be right back. I'm just taking a very quick break. Be back in less than a minute or so. I'm going to make it so we can fine tune the walk speed to make him very slow if we really want to. We don't need to stick exactly to Ghosts and Goblins. We can definitely mix it up quite a lot. But yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Okay. Yeah, of course. The ice skating thing's more about his movement speed, though, isn't it? Well, and the scroll. Basically, his move speed and the scroll. As you say. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, so anything we do to change the speed from 1, we need to also do on this scrolling here where it increments. Which is fine, because that's exactly what we are doing here. If you do that, you've got to be careful though, because that's what we basically did with the Red Dwarf. See, it's pretty much seamless, the transition, if you ask me. Because what's happening is they're both a value of 1. As soon as I change the speed of the walk, then now it's gonna look stupid. It's a little bit too fast, yeah. Or is it though? Let me have another look at that video. Oh, it's popped up with that stupid pop-up again. Yeah, it's definitely a bit fast. I'd say maybe it needs to be about half the speed. Yeah, his move speed as well as the scroll. I'm not talking about the way his legs move. I'm talking about how fast he moves across the screen. So we've got to do the exact same thing twice, as far as I can tell. Let's do it in the player first, because that might sort the scroll as well if we... Yeah, that's how we can do it. We'll do the same thing we've done with animation, except we'll just return from these. So instead of instead of calling the animation routine when that is more than, we'll return if it's less than. If we slow down the scroll, we'd have to slow down his movement, wouldn't we, as well? Otherwise, it's going to do that thing. It's going to, like, you'd walk really quick to here, and then you'd suddenly, it would seem like you slowed down. Think about it. If I let him move at this speed, I can't go left. But and then when he gets to here, if it suddenly goes any slower. Anyway, I've got an idea of what I want to do. I'm just going to do it. It's only a first try this, because I don't like it. It's going to actually make the game less responsive. Sometimes you'll press the keys and nothing will happen. I want to still animate him. Might end up moving that animation up into here. So if the timer is less than the delay, we don't do either. And if we do reach this point here, we want to set it back to 0. Funnily enough, it's already in A, look. Oh, that doesn't matter though. Right, so let's see how that affects things. It's going to give us a sort of a delay. going to slow everything down, I think. Here we go, look. Here we go. Look at that. So I said half, didn't I? So let's put it down. Let's put that to 2. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, that grave's looking a bit funny at the top there, but... wonder why. Something to do with my delay. Let's try to delay at 3 again then. So that's like 1/3 now of the speed we just had it at. No glitches. I think this feels quite nice like this actually. It's going to make it very hard, the game. A bit too slow. 1's not going to do anything. 1 will be the same as 2, I believe. Or no, it'll be the same as... It'll be how we had it originally. I thought 2 was perfect, to be honest. Let's think of a way of making it more fine-tuned then. If we make move timer a word. So we'll increment the timer still. I actually want to... Oh, we've already got walk speed, and I've called this move. What we actually want is a speed sort of thing for this as well. A constant. If we wanted to get to the same as what 2 was, this would have to be 128. So we'll add HL, player movement speed. Speed's wrong. Rate. Let's put rate. Can't really think of a good name for it, but I didn't want to use speed. So now we want to load HL with the data inside that memory address. Then load just the high byte. We can probably put that to 1 now. Now it should be the same as what we just had. Yeah, so now we can really fine tune it. So you reckon a little bit faster than that, yeah? Just closing down. I've got so many of them command prompt windows open. There we go. I'll have to go through this another time when I'm alone and try and make it a bit more coherent, because I've made it a bit No, that's dead the same actually, but this will go a bit faster now. For example, that would be back where we started. So we want it somewhere in the middle. I've just realised this is still going to be a problem though. Because it's going to go over, it's always, yeah. So it's not quite working. Because if you think about it, it's only checking when that reaches 1. So it's going to, number whether that's 128 or 192, it's still just going to do it within 2 goes every time. Bugger. That's a shame because it was quite a good way, but I'm going to go all the way back. Go all the way back to here. I was going to make it too slow. Purposely like that. Make it 3 too slow. And then what we'll do is we'll double the speed that we actually move at. So I could just change that to 2, but I'm just gonna put times 2 for now. And the same with the scroll. So that's actually in between now. But it has made it like quite glitchy. It doesn't look as good. But that did work. It did speed up the game. Like in between the two, what we had before. I think that's about right though, honestly. Hmm. Well, how about, I think this might be a much simpler way. Go back to move timer being a word. We just have move delay being a word as well. Or word size. Can't work out what number I should put there. Let's just put 500 for a sec. Ah, I forgot about that. I need to check them op codes. There might be something to help us here, but you can't use compare now, can you? Trying to make it even more scalable, because at the moment we're dealing with, we have to divide the speed by 2 or 4 only. So we had that original speed, and then the way I done it, I could slow it down by half and then half again. And obviously I could keep going like that quite a long way if I wanted to, but I wanted to try and get it in between the two speeds. It's actually proven to be quite tricky. I think we should ignore this. Let's get rid of that move timer. It was okay, it did serve its purpose, but the problem with it is it's going to overcomplicate things. There must be a better way of doing it. Got some errors now with there. Okay, so we're back here to the 1-for-1 speed. So what I'm trying to do is make that slower. I mean, it might work just to slow this down. It pretty much does. But that's slowing the response time of the game down. It's not really the best solution. Let's take a look in there. Hmm. You know, it might just work just to put it to 3 though. Still seems pretty fast. I'd rather have it at 1 because then I know it's 60 or 50 frames per second. Hmm. So what I tried to do a minute and I deleted, I was trying to use that same approach what we used for the animation timer for the movement and scroll. But for some reason it limited us to be only able to half in the time. Is it really? I mean, that's kind of by design, isn't it? Except for we can independently change the animation. See? Yeah, I knew about that. I wasn't really trying to work on that because we can tweak that. It does look kind of cool, doesn't it? It's still a little bit faster. I'd love to be able to tweak it down. We're at a speed of 1 right now, so we can't go any slower. It's almost spot on, isn't it? But what I was trying to say was I'd like to be able to have fine tuning of the speed. This is speed 1. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I want it at speed 0.98. It's got nothing to do with the animation, but yeah. The animation's independent from that, if it makes sense. But yeah, it's getting there. The animation's definitely... I understand how we can tweak that. We've got quite a lot of leeway. But like I say, that scroll speed is at 1 right now. I need to come up with a way. It's got to be the same as what I was doing there, really, hasn't it? Hmm. Maybe I should just live with it. It is pretty much spot on. It's just I really would love to be able to say, right, I want it 0.9 of the speed of this. I'll just live with it for now and try and add left in now. Does it actually scroll to the left? Yeah, the integer thing's a bugger, isn't it? But that's part of the fun. It's one of the main bits of the fun. uh, I'm glad it all worked tonight so far anyway. My brain can only think of doing some sort of variation of what we've done here for the scroll and movement. I'm going to just call it P movement from now on. That means basically what I was just talking about. Uh, okay, that's quite a good idea. I actually disagree though. I do think they should be able to be independent of each other, but you should be able to scroll no matter what the player's animation state is. He might be jumping and like he might be in a falling animation, for example, or you might have him flying or something. He might be invisible. Delay it a touch, yeah. That's basically what I'm doing here. But I'm just having a quick think. Does it? Don't forget, I'm not trying to literally one for one copy this game. But I'm not trying to like emulate, whatever the word is, like copy it. I just want to use it as an inspiration and borrow some graphics out of it. But that's interesting that maybe they're doing some approach like you done, and then they had to come up with another way of scrolling when he was jumping. Yeah, but if you start linking the scrolling into like a specific frame of an animation, it's quite a big like bond or binding between them for no reason, if you ask me. It should be completely independent, I would have thought. That's right. So it's more worrying about when they hit the ground is the hard bit of a jump, isn't it? Finding out when they hit the ground and setting the animation back to the walk animation. I used to just use the jump animation for my fall, it was just all one animation like in Super Mario. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm debating your idea in my head at the same time as thinking about this value. I'll obviously try this value thing first because I can already picture how this is going to work. Yeah, see, I'm gonna probably code it a completely different way to that, Specky. The scrolling is gonna purely be based on the position of the player on the screen and whether you're holding right or not, the key. And then the jumping, there's not going to be any jump table or anything. Yeah, and then the jumping will just be if you press the jump button and you're not already in a jumping state, you'll get risen up for a few frames at a certain velocity, and then the gravity will eventually take that velocity away and turn it into a negative. And then obviously when you hit the ground, velocity will be zero. You set it to zero when you detect the ground. It worked in Space Taxi, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm pretty sure we could have changed Space Taxi to run really fast, and it could have become the platform game. If I knew how to do all the scrolling very well at the time, I would have been able to do that. Because with them Specky 48K tutorials, I actually did a wide range of things, but not all in one project. Sadly, if you put all them things together, you'd probably have a really good game. Because I actually did do like a side-scrolling level at one point with tiled sprites, but then I closed that and went on to like a space taxi, spiky in space and all that. Yeah, see the problem is even if I put two here, that's still going to be twice as many frames as it is now because it's going to hold one out of every two. I wonder, I wonder if I just put this as say, if I put this as 200, this is going to look clunky as hell I reckon, but I'm going to try it anyway. So I'm never going to reset it. I'm just going to let this always tick up and down, up and then through and looping through. So there's going to be like 50 whole frames where it's too high. Yeah, no worries, man. I completely understand. Oh, bless. Yeah, you don't want to upset the wife, man. You got to get your priorities right. I couldn't condone that. I'll still be here next time. I'll quickly try this, see what it looks like. All I'm going to do is exit out if this value is less than that value. I'm never going to reset. I reckon we're going to see like a weird stepping situation now. Like it'll step. Oh, yeah, yeah. The animation, of course, is happening all the time. That's funny as. That was quite funny, wasn't it? Let's try this. 50. It was kind of spot on, but if you were playing it, you could see it looked very great. It was very weird to play. So what about if we put 50 here then? It's funny how it just makes you start randomly. Yeah, it's not very good for this scenario, but it's a bloody cool little technique. Like Yo, Moz, thank you, man. That music was perfect for it again. I'm gonna have to delete that though because unfortunately this would be great for something like Tetris. You know where you want it all to drop at a certain time. But for this, it doesn't make a very good gameplay experience. Actually, let's not delete it though. No, let's delete it. I'm just going to be happy with the speed for now. Before I do, oh, sorry. I can undo it though. Okay, but it won't be good to play that, won't Specky? There's like long periods where you can't control the game in like at regular intervals. But to not animate is to simply just move that up there. So the return is before the animation now. But you see, it's forcing me to stop there. Yeah. But I reckon it's not too bad how we've already got it. Let's get rid of the timer. Yeah. I think if we just tweak the animation speed, when I say, you know, the actual frame rate of the animation, that's enough to make it have a nice feel to it. Got errors now. Timer. Okay, so I've got rid of the movement timer. Because there's got to be a better way than doing that timer thing. And the timer thing is only good if you want to slow it down exactly by half. Because it doesn't let you do like 0.9. That's quite good, that. I kind of wish I'd spent this time doing a jump instead. I won't even do jump though. The next thing I'm going to do, and it's going to be tomorrow, I think. I'm not in the mood to try and start this now, to be honest. But I'm going to drop him. So we'll start. We'll start there, yeah. And I'll load the game. And I want him to drop and land on the floor. And that's the biggest step for me. Once I've done that, it's quite easy to initialize a jump. You just have to give him an upward force in velocity. But we'll set up velocity and do it downwards first. Yeah, detecting the floor, which is very, very simple. We've done it already. It might not be so simple now we're doing this scrolling in this manner, but I think it will be. But it's something that if I try to do tonight, I'm not going to manage it. I can tell you, I just know I'll fail because there's too much for me to go wrong with the what was it I was particularly worried about? Oh, the tile map scrolling, of course, the way it's just stuck there in the memory. But once basically, long story short on it, this offset, this points to the right side of the camera, basically. So we can use that when we're doing collision detection to find out what square we are actually looking at when we look at the screen memory. So that's how we'll do it. We can literally look inside the screen, check the offset, find out what tile we're looking at in here exactly. And that's all you need to know in it to do collision. Once you know what tile you're in, you're good. Tinker with the animation, yeah, why not? A little tinker. So if I put it to 1, this is as fast as it'll go. I'll move him down as well. It looks a little bit better when he's on the ground there. We're not making a 3D game just yet, so I'll get rid of Z. And 1's way too fast. Let's put it on 3. I'd say this is the first sensible option. 3. Even that's a bit fast, isn't it? 5. I should be able to get him going left if you want me to, yeah. I like the value 4, and the reason is because it's like a power of 2, isn't it? So that might actually prove wise to make it that down the line. Going left should be very easy, shouldn't it? First I'll get him moving left. I won't flip the sprite yet. Sequence. Let's do one or the other then. Let's forget left for now. So animate walk. We never really need that anymore in that case, but we might need it one day. We might want to set him to default. Basically, when we get to this stage, what we need, I'll just pop it here. These are horribly named. Resets feet to ground. Yeah, these are lots of different things you're throwing at me at the moment. But that last thing you said, I would do after I've done the jumping. And it'll be very easy. It'll be almost as simple as that. In fact, yeah, that's why you're saying that. I get it now. It will be that, won't it? I can use that. I get it now. I'm just trying not to overcomplicate this. This is why I'm waiting so long now. My thought process behind this is when we're in the up state, we'll do this. And when we're in the down state, we'll do the reverse of that. And then this will cool, change state. Let's just do that. Sort it. I hate just using it up. I hate using it. Let's do A instead. Got it. Oh, in fact, 0. Oh, a jump. Yeah, okay, it should be alright. Yeah, but it's not really a sequence though, is it? Unless you mean adding it in here. But obviously that would be copying a load of sprites. We don't want to do that really. But this isn't a sequence, this is a loop where it constantly adds. I mean, luckily it's either 0 or 1. So if it's not 0, we'll just jump to the other one. Let's call it anim sequence. I like that word. So it's either in 0 sequence or 1 basically. I think that'll work. I did have an XOR calculator on my last computer. Okay, so it toggles this sequence thing. We're already calling this because we were calling it before, and it checks that. This one needs to go down, doesn't it? This one's already at the topmost sprite. It wants to CP 0. These do want to be added, but this wants to be subtracted. The reason we're adding that is just to put them 2 bits back. And if you remember, I said earlier, we know this one's always going to be a 1. And we actually know this one's always going to be a 1, because if not, we'll make sure that these never get called. Okay, I have an error. Line 179. It should be sequence. I think that's working, you know. Let's slow it right down so we can have a look. Might be too slow now. Nah, it's just right. So that I think they're the wrong way around. Sprites might be the wrong way around, yeah. So that's definitely A. It is hard. Still can't quite work out what order they should be in. It's a right pain having to change them. Because you've got to get all 4, remember. Too often most ones are switched. That would be good if that's all it is. So D and C. Luckily I did label them though. That has come in handy. It's actually not hard to try, is it, when you think about it? We only have to switch them around here. Because the labels are actually irrelevant. We're not using the labels. It looks the same, doesn't it? Whoa. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Oh well. We will end up redoing the sprites in a more logical manner, you know. Might not need the additional frames. Okay. We can just test that just by doing that. I didn't move them back. I've got D before C now. Let's not slow it down so much. In fact, whoa, 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 what have I done now? Oh dear. Oh, it's that toggle thing. What was it called? Set to default. It looks pretty good. It does look pretty good. It looks okay to me. Well done. Well done, man. That's bloody good going on your tablet, watching someone else code and figuring that out. That was really good. In that case, let's get... Yo, thanks, Specky Nut. Absolute gent. In that case, let's get rid of this bloke code here. Don't even need that. Okie dokie. Back to how we were about an hour ago, but we had learnt a few little tricks there. It looks so good that I can't stop looking at it because it's looking so nice. It's a little bit too fast. We'll come up with a way of slowing it down another day though. There is always the way, you know, there is always this little cheat where we can just put this to say 8. We can fine tune the speed a little bit. Oh, it didn't go down very much. What about 40? Oh yeah, it goes down a lot. I'm not sure. It looks like one frame's missing out of that now, but we'll sort out his sprite as well. And we can fine tune this. It freaks. There we go. Look at that. That's nice and slow, isn't it? Seems very smooth. We'll know more if it's smooth about when we're like firing lances and jumping. And like you say, the enemies is going to be the big challenge. I don't think it will be that hard though. Really fun. There's something wrong about that animation loop. It looks like it's missing one of the frames now. But I think it's just me actually, just imagining it. That the leg closest to us never goes forwards, does it? Oh yeah, it does. There you go. Speed it up a touch. Do you reckon? Put 16. Stick with the power of 2 vibe. Somewhere in between. We'll know more when there's enemies flying around and when we can jump. 9, you reckon? I think we've already had it on 8. Let's try 9. So I don't think the power of 8 is that important. Or power of 2 or whatever. So there's 9. I'd say I'm most happy with about, well, 16 so far, but I'll try 14. Somewhere around the 12 mark. Try 10 then. Oh, it goes massively different when you go from 12 to 10. Oops. Mook did say that there's something weird about the raster weight line, the weight raster line. I think it's imperfect. Because look at that difference, that's a huge difference. Yeah, I thought it was missing a frame, but we'll worry about that another day. It's good enough now, for now. We'll need to, we've written the code now. When we make the sprites, we need to remember to draw them in such a way that they need to go up and down. It is a really good result. We'll do the background. I'm going to have to come up with some way of doing the background. What I would love was, I'd love to be able to do a tile map below this tile map, like with parallax. I don't know how to do any of that yet. I think if you were to do a grave that you would walk and the grave would be in front of you, that would be a sprite, you know, like, you know, maybe I'd need a sprite of a grave here and then that would be in front of you. But yeah. These graves are going to be solid, don't forget anyway. Great result though, yeah. Hardly anything really held us back today. And then tomorrow's Sunday and then time off. I think I'm getting a couple of weeks off, but I can never be sure with my company. But I at least have 2 days off anyway. Waterfall in the background, exactly. We'll come up with something to do in the background. But I also really would love to learn the parallax scrolling. Because I've seen that it exists. There's actually a sample code in the emulator that you can look at. So we'll probably take some time to look at that as well. But yeah, nothing. I won't be able to figure anything out at this time of night. I'm too tired all the time when it gets to this time. It's okay if it's something I already know how to do. Oh, thanks, Moz. Thanks very much, my dude. I certainly will. Gonna keep it going. Can't wait. I really can't wait until we've got to the point where we can design levels and, you know, create an actual full game that we'll work on together, hopefully, as well. Great stuff. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you all for the bits, Moz and Specky Nut. Yeah, expect me back here tomorrow about 11 p.m. Yeah, off to bed. Good night, Specky. Good night to you as well, Moz. Dark Souls. Yeah, no worries, Moz. I might have to check that game out. I've been recommended it many a time. Good night, man. Yeah, time to go. Don't want to waste too long. Hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, you know I'm going to be here all week. So, see you then. Have a good rest of your night, mate. See you soon. Bye-bye.